I ordered this Ant 32S BMS. I got the newest version, I guess. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I just, it's basically the same design that's been around for a while. I actually, when I went back in my AliExpress uh, order history, I had ordered this in 2021, and for some reason, it was canceled because I guess the seller never received payment or something. But 2021, um, well, I guess I was using AliExpress before then, but maybe I was new to it. Anyway, I'm going to kind of just go through a few websites here just to kind of show you what my expectations are when this comes in mid-February and how it's going to help me with my Nissan Leaf modules. I have 16 of them, and the way Nissan Leaf battery modules are hooked up, each can essentially is it's 4 pouch Lipo cells, two connected in parallel to two more in series. But with a balanced lead in the middle, so you're you're still looking at target voltages that are consistent with other lithium batteries, with a max of about 4.2 volts. All right, so we can use standard BMS with those batteries, which would be great. So this is a listing on eBay, but I kind of wanted to go through the, different listings have better documentation about this unit, but this is kind of gives the best idea of how it would be set up. So the unit I got actually has 2 wires coming off of each end because it's a higher amperage unit. This is a battery management system. It's a BMS, but I'm only going to use it for cell monitoring. So that's really my only reason to buy it is cell monitoring and cell balancing. So when we're charging, we need to balance the batteries to make sure that they're, one isn't getting higher than another one, because the charger outputs, 128 volts, and with a target voltage of 4 volts per cell, we don't want one to be at 5 and one to be at 3. So, and the way it's set up, you can see here that here's the negative pole of the battery pack, and here's the positive pole of the battery pack, and or actually, well, now that I look at this, maybe I'm gonna have some issues, but I expect that I can run my load right off the battery here and just completely bypass the battery management system, which is going to include your overcurrent protection. So in this setup here, the charger and the load kind of, well, they do share the same hookup here, but I'm just going to have the charger there. It's possible I would add maybe the DC-DC converter and use the overcurrent protection in here to handle that. So we'll see. But for right now, it looks like I can basically hook up all the sense leads that I have that are already wired to the Leaf battery modules and just hook them up to these connectors as it's seen here. And this connector here is actually for temperature. This is just kind of going through different setups of how many batteries you would have. But because I have 16 cells, I need a 32S balancer, and that's pretty hard to find. Um, a 16S would be easier, but 32S is the way to go for right now. Here's another eBay listing of this. It kind of gives a better idea of like what comes with it. There's actually like a little switch to like activate balancing, or that can be automatically activated when it senses charging. Here's some more specs. So the balancing is done through passive balancing, apparently, 280 milliamp passive balancing, which means that it's not active, it's not transferring the current from cell to cell. It's going to be basically burning it off as heat through resistors, but that's okay. It's only during charging, I expect, because as far as I understand, the sleep function is pretty low current. So let's just look at these. Yeah, it's kind of similar. Obviously, the important thing about this too is that it has built-in Bluetooth now as standard on these, and so you can use a cell phone app or a tablet to monitor the batteries, which will be great. Here's just another kind of setup of what we're looking at. Here's some new pictures of the app, the newest app. But this is really the data that you're looking for. What are the cell voltages? And then maybe can we do some control functions, like trying to understand the capacity maybe of the battery. Well, we're not going to be able to do that, but except on charging. Maybe we could, if we're charging it through the BMS. So we might actually do that, is just use the charger and use this as the battery management system for the charger, which we'd have to do anyway, actually. So that's the idea with that. Here's some more pictures of what we're expecting. I did see some reviews of people having it hooked up, or what comes in the box. It looks like the wires do come with it and the switch. Here's a kind of crude battery setup. You can see, actually those almost look like Nissan Leaf batteries in there, in a steel cage. I kind of like this with the steel box. That's kind of nice. I think I might maybe build my battery box like this. And I know these standoffs, these is what I was looking at on Amazon. It's the right way to do it. So yeah, these are kind of some cool pictures. Now I'll show you what I bought. Just here's some more pictures on AliExpress. Let's see, I got the 120 amp version, so it's got the 2 wires coming off, so I can connect to a load and the charger. And it also handles a little bit more. Here's just some more specs that you can actually plug in an interface screen instead of using the app, but it seems like the app probably is the way to go. But it might be nice to have a built-in screen in the car just to see what's going on, or at least state of charge, quickly. Yeah, here's your operating power, standby power, basically nothing. So that's pretty sweet. And that was one listing. Here is what I actually bought, which was directly from, actually, well, this isn't the listing, but I guess this is what the app looks like now, which is pretty cool. Ant BMS app. So obviously this is the way to go. And then you could also plug it into a computer to get even more. Here's like a sample display screen that they have. So that's cool. There was one other option that I was pretty impressed with. This is called the Heltec BMS, and they say, "Oh, this is the BYD program." But what I like about this one, um, uh, I was not able to buy this because from what I can see, there's no app that goes with it. So it's just going to do its job of balancing batteries and handling everything. And, it's a super high current BMS, um, but um, it doesn't have an app to go with it or an interface, which is kind of a deal breaker a little bit. But if you kind of just were able to trust it and maybe do some battery monitoring secondarily, this is a super cool thing because instead of using MOSFETs, they're using actually a contactor um, control, right? And it's like, why hasn't anyone else done this? Because this is essentially what's inside an electric car these days, which is battery monitoring with contactor control. And they're not using overcurrent protection via MOSFETs. So let's just see if we go through these pictures here. BYD New Energy Vehicle Solution. So this is probably what BYD is using, because a very simple battery management board, but with a high current contactor relay. And the nice thing is it goes up to 32S. And again, if this is your load side, it's way away from the circuit board, and that's always been the issue with these BMS is they're running the current through the board, or at least the current control, and it's just there's too much heat, and now this can be separated. So I don't really know. I guess efficiency then active equalization 5 times. So I guess the efficiency is 5 times higher than active equalization, or it's using active equalization. But you get a 1 amp up to 1 amp balancing. That's pretty sweet. So this could be you could, if you had a weak cell, it could keep up with everything because it could get up to 1 amp charge balance or discharge. But here's just some cooler pics, depending on the version you get, it really depends on the contactor. There's not a whole lot of difference here. I guess just with the control side of the contactor would be upgraded. But, you can get a continuous 350 amp draw, which would probably be enough for my car, but you could even go up to 500. So I was seriously looking at this. It is available on AliExpress. I'll give you an idea of what they're selling there. Like here's your top 500 amp, 5,000 amp peak. Look at this thing, 32S, 3.7 volt nominal. Look at that thing. And actually now it appears that they're integrating a pre-charge relay into the whole unit itself. So this is your complete high voltage control and battery management in a box. In my case, I don't need these contactors. I could use them as a secondary backup for overcurrent coming out of the pack, but that can all be done with the inverter. And actually, my inverter controls the contactor to begin with, so I don't need this. But if we were doing another conversion, this might be the way to go, and then just have an inverter that is just handling engine speed like it is on a normal car these days. DC in, 3-phase out, pedal input. That's all you need. Um, so, you know, these are some pretty impressive solutions that I hadn't seen before, marrying 32S with contactor control instead of MOSFET for super high current applications. And the price, you know, is totally reasonable, which is really exciting. And here you have kind of the similar setup, you know, charging load, power load out here, battery load. But this way you have your battery completely protected by your unit here. So yeah, that's what I was looking at. I did buy, like I said, I bought the Ant BMS unit because it's got the app, which will give us that that data that we need, and you know, it just is going to balance the batteries while they're being charged, and also, you know, instead of me manually going in there with a multimeter to check each battery cell, now I can do it right from a tablet or just an old cell phone that I can keep in the car. All right, thanks for watching. This is Geo Rides on YouTube and converttheclassics.com. Thanks for watching.